Hello, hello, and welcome back to Her Nature, the podcast for women who are getting out there and living within their nature. Today, we are talking about getting a damn hobby. And I had done an episode about this in the past, specifically for moms, called Mommy Get a Hobby. It was one of my first ever pod episodes. And looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, the more you do something, this is a good example. A podcast. The more that you do it, you look back and you're like, oh my God, that could have been so much better. But that's not the point of a hobby. The point of a hobby is for fun and for self-development and for the love of the game. And so looking back on that episode, it's hard to not want to delete it. And I'm speaking directly to the mommies, right? So this one isn't telling you you need a hobby or you're going to fuck up your kids. It is for everybody, whether you're a mommy or not, as more of a guide to get a hobby, how to get a hobby. And it is something that I think we can all be reminded of because hobbies matter. No matter what era we are in our lives, having no hobby kind of sucks. Having no hobby and focusing on like maintenance and getting enough rest, getting our steps in, going to work, doing all the things that we need to do, but not having something that is just for you, that can take us out. And I speak a lot about this, but I do think that it's a major reason why we have all these mental health issues and a lot of people feel discontentment in our lives is because we're not filling it up with meaningful time, with something that actually brings us joy. Hobbies are fun. They add like flavor to whatever era we're in. They help us feel a sense of identity and meaning, and they give us community and help us learn, help us grow. If you don't have any hobbies and you just go to work and you're like an accountant, you might be growing in that and becoming a better accountant. You might be becoming a better mom when you're at home and being a mom. But outside of that, just as you as a person, how are you continuing to grow? What is something that inspires you and makes you want to learn more about it and spend more time doing it and refining that? And oftentimes hobbies can be skills, which we love to see. We love to see a diva getting a skill, being an equipped woman and not just being a little bump on a log. Hobbies can change, okay? They can be something different in different areas of life. They can flux with where you are, but I'm sick of watching Married at First Sight and everybody's hobby is pickleball. Good for them. It's good that they have something. But I think we can shake it up a little bit more. I think we can find something to add some whimsy. We get so caught up in work and our responsibilities that it's hard to prioritize hobbies. And it doesn't feel productive. And these days, we assign zero meaning to things that don't give us productivity. If we're not creating something, especially as women, we're literally like slaves. Whoopsh, whoopsh. We're asked, what are you doing? What are you giving the world? You need to constantly be doing. But having a hobby is taking that power back. It's reclaiming it and being like, no, bitch, this is my life. I get to live for me. I get to do the things that I want to do. I get to spend my time how I want, even 5% of the time, God forbid. So how to find a hobby. If you are somebody who's like, I don't even know where to start. I try art. I suck at it. I try to go play sports. I'm not athletic. I just don't know what my thing is. Here are some good places to start. Number one, think about an empty day. If you had no friends or no responsibilities, if you had nothing on your calendar and you were like, what would I ideally do on this day? Not if I'm exhausted, but I'm well rested. I have nothing to do. How would you spend that day? If nobody was judging you, you weren't going to post about it, you weren't tired from your work week, what would you do? Would you go travel? Would you go to a restaurant, try some new foods? Would you get ready for the day and go shopping? Like, how would you spend that day? That might give you a little glimpse into what your hobby could be. If it would be watching movies all day, okay, not too much of a hobby, but maybe your hobby could be joining a acting group or doing movie night sleepovers with girlfriends or getting all the kids together to go to like movies in the park or something. Okay, that's a good start. Number 2, think about your childhood interests. I always talk about this one, but like if you're stuck on how should I spend my time outside of doing and giving to everyone else, think about what you did when you were a kid. For me, I was always outside playing in the dirt. I love hiking. I love going outside. I love gardening. Those things for me have translated into adult hobbies. So ask yourself that. Like when I was a little kid, did I like to dress up? Did I like to sing? Did I like to go on walks? What was it that gave me some sense of like play and freedom? Because those things don't stop when we're adults. In fact, they're needed more in a lot of ways. Another way to find a good hobby is go on your Instagram feed if you're somebody who's chronically online and scroll. Look on your explore page and be like, what are the core 5 themes that I'm seeing here? Usually our Instagram feeds or TikTok or whatever you use is an indication of our interests. And even if we're not somebody who's into farming, I might not have a farm, but if my Instagram feed has a bunch of ducks and cottagecore vibes, maybe that's an indication of where my heart's at and what I'm interested in and what I might feel drawn towards. It doesn't mean that you need to have a farm. It might mean that participating in a small piece of that dream could be a part of your hobby. I think that's something that holds us back a lot is we feel like we have to identify fully with our hobby to participate in it. And as a hiker, I hear this a lot in the hiking world. Like people say, oh, I'm not a hiker. I would never be able to keep up with you. I can't do it like that. Like I could never go out all day. Well, you don't have to. You could start with something small. Nobody goes and hikes Mount Rainier on their first hike, and you don't have to be like this fit, dirty, gritty person who's like an expert at hiking to try it out. You don't have to be fucking Old McDonald to make a little sourdough or try growing a tomato plant. You can do that when you're in an apartment off your little porch or whatever. We don't have to be the full identity to not feel imposter syndrome when we do anything. It's not that serious. Take that block away from yourself. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to identify with it. You don't even need to tell anybody about it. If you want to try fishing one day, you can just go try fishing. Hit up a fishing guide and just go. It doesn't need to be a whole thing that you're like marrying or a whole lifestyle. You can choose just to go to a play for the day or go shopping downtown. You don't need to make it this whole dramatic thing. I think that holds us back a lot, especially with social media. I think we often feel like we can't even step into a lifestyle or a hobby without feeling like we're like trying too hard or trying to be something that we're not, when we can be all things. Me and my bestie always joke because we'll be at the gay club one time and then we're like at the NRA shooting class the next time we hang out. Like you don't have to feel like you're contradicting a piece of yourself by doing something a little bit different. That's the joy of life. Like try out different things and see what works for you. And I love doing hobbies alone. I love hiking alone. I love crafting alone. I love gardening alone and kind of learning those things by myself. But if you're somebody who wants to start with somebody else, ask a friend. If you have a friend who dances, ask him, can I come to a class with you sometime? Bring a friend. Say, hey, friend, do you want to try volunteering with me at the food bank this weekend? Let's do it together. That can kind of help you stay accountable, and actually commit. You want to choose a hobby that feels natural to you and that you're kind of in your flow with. And it's not going to feel like flow right from the beginning, but there should be like some curiosity and interest in it instead of just doing what you should be doing. I've tried a lot of hobbies where the whole time that I'm there, I'm like, why am I doing this? This isn't really my thing. Like, I'm just not into it. And that's okay. It's okay to try something and then be like, this isn't my vibe. I would rather be painting my nails or going out for wine with my girlfriends. That is fine. It's okay to not like something, but it's finding that balance of being like, this isn't my thing and that's okay, versus this is a little bit uncomfortable because it's new to me. That we should push through. We're afraid to be bad at things, and we're afraid to be unproductive because of capitalism and our lifestyles. There's like this productivity that's pushed so hard on us, especially as women, that being good and being good at something means that you're valuable and that it's worth your time, it's worth your energy. And if you're not, then go do something that you're actually good at, because you're not wanted here. And we've all been there, right? It's normal to have discomfort when you're a beginner at something. And I've felt this when I play pool or golf, anything where you have to hit a ball at something, I suck at it. And it's hard because it's like determining, is this not my thing, or am I just not good at it right now? And maybe I want to be good at it. I'm just not naturally like gonna be in my flow the first time that I'm trying it. So that's something that I'm working on. Golf. I'm trying to figure out, like, do I actually like golf, and do I want to get good at it, or do I want to wear the outfit and hang out on the golf cart and drink mimosas? Maybe a little bit of both, but it doesn't have to be that serious. I can discover that through play, through experience. I posted this reel last week of me backpacking, and this girl had commented and said, like, how do you do this? How do you not get afraid? And, I feel like I would just be looking over my shoulder the whole time, like scared, because I was backpacking alone. And I told her, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm comfortable. I know what to look for. I know the red flags. I bring my navigation. I bring my self-defense. I bring everything that I need. I've been there. I've slept in a tent tons of times. So it's not a scary thing because I've practiced. I'm not like brave and courageous to backpack alone. I literally am just experienced. And anything that we want, any kind of state that we want to feel when we're doing our hobby, we can get to eventually if we're genuinely interested and with a lot of hours spent, a lot of experience. As a type A, hardworking girl who's always been driven in my career, hiking has been the best form of fighting back against my type A personality and all the things that come with that. Like, it's in my nature to want to do good things and work hard. And I found that hiking for me is something that I can still utilize my nature and step into it, but do it in a way that's not for money. It's not something that I have to do. It's something that I want to do. It's a way that I can claim my power where it still feels good and it's fun. Anything that you hate about yourself or you're trying to work on, like if you feel like you're too loud, go do karaoke. Like, find a hobby where you can own the thing that you're suppressing. That has been like a major life hack for me. Instead of shrinking down my nature and trying to disown pieces of myself, taking that and feeling empowered within it, and then like focusing it towards something that is actually joyful. That is the best way to keep a hobby going because it's natural. You're not forcing it. It's taking all of who you are and like owning it and living within it. Okay, so once you have a hobby, how do we stay with it? I think this is what I hear a lot. Like people will be like, "Oh, I started going to a knitting class or horseback riding lessons, but I just fell off. I got too busy." And the reality is that is going to happen no matter what. Like we're so crazy busy today. It's 2026, babe. Like you're not going to be bored. You're not going to be bored unless you sit at home and you cut yourself off from the world. There's so much to do and things are going to take up your plate. Even if you do stay at home, especially if you have a family, if you're married and have kids, like you're going to be busy. So it's more like, how do we protect our hobby? Because again, I think that hobbies make us show up better in all areas of our lives, relationships, work, everything. Our internal self. Hobbies give us so much confidence and have us showing up lighter and brighter to the people that we love. So you got to protect it. You have to protect it like an appointment and write it down in your calendar and plan towards it. This helps if you're somebody who gets like a little ADHD, like disorganized with committing to dates, having a reoccurring hobby. So like if you love watching The Bachelor and it comes out every Saturday, I don't know when it comes out, invite your friends. Like we're going to do Bachelor night every Saturday and we're going to switch whose house we go to and we're going to do charcuterie boards and make it a thing. Making it a thing is the best way to protect your hobby, like holding it and adding the whimsy to it. Instead of just going to go shopping for the day, it's like, let's all dress up like Sex in the City and make it a thing and then get appetizers after we go shopping. That is a great way to hold a date. Instead of, I'm going to take my dog on a walk, you could be like, I'm going to put on my hottest little workout set, get a little caramel macchiato, and go on the funnest little walk, take my dog to the dog park, and listen to my favorite podcast in my headphones. Like make it a thing and hold yourself accountable. You have to say no to things to say yes to other things. So I've talked about this before, but like when you decide that you're going to do something for a hobby, you have to protect it just like it's as important as the other things that you have going on in your life. You have to protect it as if it's a doctor's appointment and it's okay to lie and tell people that, oh, sorry, I have something that day. I can't. Because everybody's going to want a piece of you, especially as a woman. And your cup has to be filled first, babe. Your cup has to be filled first with whatever you want. A little vodka cran, a little coffee, a little tennis. Whatever sparks your joy, that needs to be protected just as much as your kids' t-ball practice needs to be protected, just as much as your car needs to be fixed, or you need to make that appointment for your family, or you need to answer the emails for your clients. Your time matters, babe. I also feel like making friends in your hobbies niche makes a lot of sense. If you're doing it on your own, it's harder to stick to it, but finding people who love the same thing. I lost my hiking buddy a couple of years ago, and it was hard because everybody hikes, but she would do like really intense stuff with me, and she moved away. And I felt like, how do I do these super intense hikes alone? It's kind of unique because it's actually dangerous to be doing like really crazy hikes alone. And so I needed somebody. And I saw this girl, she posted on Facebook, like a Facebook group, like Washington hiking, whatever, looking for a climbing partner. And I replied, I found her on Instagram and I DM'd her, and we met for the first time at midnight at a trailhead to climb a mountain. And we've been talking like every week since. We're planning more hikes. And it's a great way to meet friends. It's a great way to hold each other accountable and finding something that you're passionate about and then like Connecting with someone who also loves that thing, it's just magical. Like, it's everything. Get into a running club. I've said this before, but like, there's a club for everything. Get into, like, if you're passionate about a certain cause or giving back, there are so many nonprofits that need support. If you have time in the day and you want to put your heart somewhere, you want to get a hobby, volunteer. There are so many events and nonprofits that are doing incredible work that need volunteers. And that is something that is dying today. My mom always put me in volunteer groups as a kid, like church, and she would sign me up for all the churches. Like for VBS in the summer, I'd be at the Catholic VBS, I'd be at the Lutheran VBS and the Christian VBS. And did it make me confused about religion? Yes. Were they contradicting each other? Yes. But she did, by doing that, teach me a lot about being a leader, volunteering, being an involved member of a community. And that's important. Whether it's your physical community, like where you live, or if it's a community of your passion. So again, if you're into, let's say, dogs, there's a dog group in your community, I guarantee you. And if there's not, start one. You might have to be the leader to create it if you don't already see it. But having people that you can be hand in hand with really holds you accountable to sticking with your hobby. And pushing past that phase where you might have like a slump. I notice with a lot of hobbies, it's like a relationship. There's novelty in the beginning. You get excited, you get all of the, like I think about hiking, you get all the gear, you start hiking the coolest trails and you're like, oh my God, I'm on fire for this. I love it so much. And then after a little bit, you're like, okay, I've done all the epic trails. I've gotten all the gear that makes me excited. Now I've got this crusty old jet boil and I've had this same macaroni and cheese from Mountain House so many times. Like, now what? And it might be those friends that hold you accountable to be like, let's go to this state to try this hike. Let's try dehydrating and making our own mountain meals. Like, how do we dive deeper into this hobby and enjoy it in a new way? It might take people to push you out of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of people give up their hobbies because life changes and time marches on. Tracy Lawrence, if you get it, you get it. He says, a star is born, a star burns out. And it's so real. It's like, he says, the only thing that stays the same is everything changes, everything changes. And he really ate with that because it's just so real. Like, the only constant is change. And how do you keep a hobby through all the eras? Number one, be okay with your interest changing. Be okay with saying goodbye to something. I used to be artsy fartsy and had like a crafty business where I would paint on mugs. And it's like the sunken cost fallacy of thinking like, okay, I've spent all this time and money on this hobby. It was my everything. I focused on it so much. And then to like shut it down and move on to something else, was it wasted time? Am I a failure? No. We need to stop thinking like that. We need to stop thinking so black and white. Like, things change. It's okay to say goodbye. And even the small pieces of what you might have gained through a hobby that you once had can be applied to your future. If you were a weightlifter when you were in high school and now you have kids, you're carrying the weight in your arms. Okay, it's different, but it's never wasted time to do something that you love. Even if you say goodbye to it or it changes over time, or maybe you come back to it years from now, we don't have to hold on to something that's no longer serving us because it's not aligning with the phase that we're at now. Our capacity changes, our identity changes, how we want to spend our time changes, and that's okay. It's okay to say goodbye to a hobby and then start up a new one. And it's also okay for your hobby to change and fluctuate and keep the same one. This was really hard for me when I had my son. It was hard for me to recognize that, oh, I can no longer go climb peaks and be out in the snow and go backpacking all the time. When I had my son, he was probably about a year by the time that I tried to take him on his first overnight trip. And I went with a couple of girlfriends. We went camping in like way out in the mountains. And I'll never forget, we were all laying down in the tent and I was so nervous about how he was going to do. And we were trying to fall asleep, but he was crawling all over. He was kind of whining and just keeping everybody up in the tent. And it was probably like 10 p.m. And all that was flooding through my mind is like, this isn't going to work. How is it going to happen? Like, why did I try to do this? Now we're out here. And I got up from the tent in front of my friends and I was like, I can't do this. I need to go. He's uncomfortable. I want to go home. And they were like, oh, what? He wasn't even bothering us. But if you're a mommy, you know, like you feel like you're a bother when you have your kid like whining. And so I load him up into the car and I said, you guys, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go home. And I drove home at like 11 p.m. by myself with my baby and just like was sad and was just thinking like, wow, my life is really different now. I can't even go on a simple camping trip because I have my kid. And I thought that I would be the woman who would be able to do it all. And in reality, it doesn't work that way. I have limits. God forbid. The type A perfectionist can't do it all. Instead of letting my hobby evolve and giving it time to come back to a place where now I can take him backpacking, I'm able to leave him with his grandparents or his dad for the day and go do the crazy summits that I want to do. I was so hard on myself that I needed to like drag my hobby into this era of my life where it didn't fit. So by giving yourself time, taking the pressure off and recognizing like, okay, maybe I can't go camping overnight right now. Maybe it would feel a little forced or stress me out with my baby. Maybe I can take him on a walk. And that's what I did. I held him in the carrier and I took him on simple walks. We weren't doing anything crazy, but it was hard not to feel like I was giving up my hobby during this era. When in reality, it just changes. And that's okay. If Tracy Lawrence believes it, then I believe it. And same thing with whatever your hobby might be in this era. So many people, I mean, especially moms, lose that during this season and then they never go back to it or they never hold a piece of it. So then it's just like gone forever. And it's not just moms. If you're in an era where you're working all the time or you're unable to travel, but you love travel, then it doesn't mean that you don't have to just completely stop and become a loser and sit in your hometown all day, every day. And that's just your new reality. Oh, I was able to travel when I was young and had more time, but now I work and I'm busy and I'm trying to build something for myself. I'm trying to attract a husband. So all I'm going to do is sit around and work and save up money. No, you can still do it. You can still go on a little day trip. You can get an Airbnb for the weekend and go to a town in your state. You don't have to go to Belize to be a traveler. Because what happens when we completely stop because we feel like our hobby doesn't fit in this era of life is that we actually do become disconnected from it. It becomes more foreign. And then by the time that you're like, well, I do want to travel. I do want to go on a road trip. It's like, how do I even do that? I haven't done it in years. That was something that old me used to do. And we identify as someone who can't anymore. And that's hard to come back from. Not to mention practicing the skills. Like, could you imagine, going through a season where you're like, oh, I don't work out anymore. And you just completely stop and go years. And I mean, this happens all the time. How hard is it to pick it back up? Because you literally don't have the muscle. You don't have the endurance. You're not a healthy person. So how do you feel like you can step back into that healthy version of you when there's nothing left of it? We have to keep that spark alive. Okay? We have to protect it. We have to stop waiting for the free time or the perfect circumstances to make it happen. We just have to believe that, like, if there's a yearning inside of us that wants it, it can look different right now and still be ours to claim. It doesn't all need to be done right now. We don't have to have a full farm right now, but maybe I can have a little basil on my windowsill and it's not that serious, and it can be the first step to something that I can fully dive into when it makes more sense for me in a different era. That's all I have today. I love a hobby. Hobbies are iconic. Hobbies are a gift that we can give to ourselves and a gift that we give to everyone in our lives when we're doing it right. So I hope that this episode helped you figure out, like, what could my hobby be? And then how do I keep it? And how do I understand that it can play a role in my life without me having to be like a full-blown ballet dancer? Thank you so much for listening. I have some fun guests coming soon. So make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast so that you can get notified about future uploads. I'm trying to put episodes out every Tuesday. We'll see if I can stick to that, but I'm trying to be really committed because it's Virgo season, baby. It's the best time of the year. We're locking in. Lock in on your hobbies. Let me know what your hobby is. Like, if you want to try something new, hit me up. You can comment here, or you can find me on Instagram at hikingisHot and send me a message. I'd love to chat with you about what you're wanting to try. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.